Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan. And I actually got a question for you. That shirt. Do old people get pissed off at you when they see that shirt? Spencer's wearing like a communist flag shirt right now.
Yeah, it's the hammer and sickle Soviet one, like the USSR. Strangely enough, I don't really remember any old people ever saying. They probably are saying something, but they're not saying it out loud.
Shaking their heads or something like that, or we're ready to go to war with the Ruskies.
Well, I remember the weirdest thing is when we were younger or whatever. I guess you weren't part of this section of time, but I just remember me and my friends were just so obsessed with the Soviet Union from like from like 3rd to like 6th grade. It just seems like the strangest time period to be really obsessed with like war and politics and all this stuff. But I think it was
like a poster of Khrushchev on
like
your wall.
It was really due to the fact of like Red Alert, like the Command and Conquer games. Like I guess as a kid, like this is like the things that nobody ever expects to happen. Is like you go, dude, the Soviets are fucking badass.
I see like a picture of like Khrushchev, Stalin, Lenin, and then like Tim Curry.
Well, we used to draw these things in class. We called them battle plans. Mm-hmm. It's already sounds.
Did you wear black trench coats?
This is like pre-Columbine too. But we would draw these things and like it would be a mix of like people that would do it would be like me, John Garcia, Cisco Garcia, no relation.
Yeah.
I think Thomas Chiquetta, Tory, a handful of people like would.
RJ, I'm guessing.
No, this is pre-RJ.
Okay.
But
RJ usually finds a way to sneak into these stories.
Well, this is still Twain Hart.
Okay.
So this goes back even farther. Nobody else probably has any idea. But we would draw, like, one person would take one blank piece of paper, and they would draw their entire army and all these weapons and whatnot, and the other person would draw theirs, and then you would combine them together, and then you would just kind of go back and forth like a turn-based game, like, okay, this guy fires here, then this guy fires there, and so on. Like,
you guys didn't need no, like, strategy guide or nothing like that for, like, because a lot of times you see, like, those kind of like role-playing games that like you do on paper and they have these full books for it, so
that's kind of what that's what we were kind of doing. It was, battle plans. It was kind of based off Command and Conquer.
No, okay, alright.
But you know, we'd always have these pages and stuff. They always have these like Soviet signs and all this kind of stuff on there.
Teacher just probably walks by, looks down, like, it's not worth it. Just keeps on walking by.
Well, I remember one time, this was in high school now, and this still has to do with John Garcia.
Oh, okay.
And like
good guy.
This is like what people would do is like you get a piece of paper and somebody would like when you're not looking you write like a swastika on there or something like that, and then you look like dude, what the hell? Come on, it's my paper. Well, I had you don't think about it though, and you just kind of stuff it back in your folder and whatnot. And then like the drug sniffing dogs came at one point in time. It was Mr. Suggs' class. For anybody who knows Mr. Suggs from Somerville would understand that this makes it funnier. Because he's this big, huge, wrestler-looking guy who really loves Disney.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, the dogs pull me out, and I remember, like, Mr. Suggs said later on, he's like, must have been just because you have all those bands written on top of your folder. And, like, they start flipping through it, and then they go, like, oh my god, there's a bunch of swastikas written on these, like, English assignments. I'm like, it's not me, man. It's fucking someone else written them on there.
It does sound kind of like one of those things like, no, officer, that's not mine, My friend.
It literally was one of those things. It's like, dude, it's just
but it was true this
time. It's a joke, man. It's like, what's funny about that? I don't know, man. It's funny, though,
My grandmother was a Holocaust survivor.
I don't know, man. He's just like, you don't even have words left. Well, then they sent me to, not the principal, what's the other guy? The guy who, like, wishes he was the principal, but he's not. Like,
counselor or something.
Yeah,
like
the counselor. Because when you're in elementary school, you got sent to the principal. When you got to high school, for some reason, there was, like, this, like, you got sent to the principal, you must have done something really bad. You had to go through the counselor to get to the principal.
The principal was almost kind of like, principal almost had, like, a hood, guards at, like, red guards from, like...
Star Wars?
Yeah, like, because you never saw our principal, really.
No, you didn't. Yeah. He was that guy who was short and tan and always smiling. Yeah. Maybe that's why he was always smiling, because he didn't have to deal with all these kids like the elementary school principals did.
They don't got to deal with all these whiny little fucks. That's the peons' jobs.
Which is funny, because now I think about this, throughout time, me and John Garcia have had a really, really bad time with, like, all these, like, battle plans and Soviet sides and Nazi... all this, like, war stuff that we got from the History Channel has been kind of fucking us over.
Your parents would always say, watch the History Channel. It's good for you. But
it made a different impact on us. We just kind of went like, whoa, war is cool, man. Fucking like, but you're like that 10-year-old where war is cool. Like, it's cool in like that movie fantasy style.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I just remember one time, and this is in second grade. I'll go back to the counselor part, but John Garcia was being funny, kind of, and he was telling somebody, I want to say this was second grade, he's like, Bill, I'm gonna, he didn't say fucking, he was like, I'm gonna kill you later today, like, kind of like one of those ones, and I remember the principal's office, he looked outside, he's like, what the fuck, and he goes out and he talks, and he brings John Garcia in, and I had to go in there and, like, testify for John. I was like, you know, you say you're gonna kill somebody, like, when you're on the basketball court, you get it, man, I mean, you're on the basketball court, you don't mean you're literally gonna kill somebody, it's like a sport thing, and the guy was like, well, fuck, just don't do it again.
You're like his translator.
Well, I wasn't like the translator. I was like there trying to defend him. I was like his lawyer. But going back to the counselor. Okay, so now I'm sat down in Mr. Hellstep's office. And he's kind of just going there. And this has happened to me multiple times where he kind of goes through this long story to explain to me, like, kind of what this. He's like, well, you know, I get it, you know.
I'm hip.
I'm hip, you know. I look like John Travolta.
I thought I looked kind of more like Val Kilmer.
I guess John Travolta, Val Kilmer.
Had a baby, yeah.
But, like, so he's like, I see, it's like, you know, people shouldn't be doing this, but, whatever. Let me tell you a story.
Relate.
I was in Germany one time. We were on a tour, you know, and Germany was great. It was beautiful.
I had no idea.
There was all kinds of food. I mean, like, all the architect, you know, thousands of years old. We were on this train ride, you see? And we go through this tunnel on the other side. Everybody's fucking quiet. Quiet. And we were in Auschwitz. He's like, you know, it was a real experience, I tell you. You know, we got to tour it, see the torture chambers, the gas chambers, you know. And it's really a sad thing. And he's just kind of like giving me like this guilt trip. It's like, whoa. Like, 1, I didn't write these. 2, it's not my version of a practical joke. So it happens to be that I'm on the receiving end, and now I'm really receiving it.
Did you tell him, like, look, I didn't write this. How do I get... Because, like, when you're a kid and you almost just try... Sometimes I think adults, when you're younger, adults overcomplicate things. Like, no, literally, it is as simple as it looks. This isn't anything as complicated as
and he'd go into these long stories. He did another story to me once, too. I remember, like, for some reason he asked me, he's like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, well, I want to make videos. Or movies. I say videos nowadays. I'm like, fuck it. When am I ever going to use a film camera again? But, and he's like, well, you know, I had a relative. He was an artist. You know, he lived in New York. I want to say he was like, he did photographies and paintings and whatnot. He was gay. Well, you know what happened? Well, you know, he was out one night and he was at a bar he probably shouldn't have been at. And a bunch of good old boys took him out back and beat him to death.
What the fuck kind of story is that?
No, this is literally what he told me. Like, and I don't know, like, I combine this with the Auschwitz story, like, because it seems like he tells you this thing that's kind of nice. You're like, oh, okay, I see. We got a common ground here, and then, then it goes down this dark corner, and you're just kind of going,
that has nothing to do with the real point.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, think about the whole video.
Think about it, you know. Video leads to gay, leads to death.
Yeah.
Just want to let you know. Okay?
It's just hella funny. I'm just, just keep in mind, we got a lot of good old boys in this area, and I know as soon as you like the art thing, so sooner or later you're probably going to jam a dick in your mouth.
Well, it's not really art, it's video. Well, same fucking ballpark. No, not really.
These boys up here it is, you know.
To them, if it doesn't have a pigskin wrapped around it, it's a foreign object.
It's like, oh Jesus, I'm surprised it's the first time I've heard that right there.
I know, they're two great
There's
stories.
nothing to do with this. Like, every once in a while, like, I remember I had this one, I'll make this real quick, but every so often, you'd have a teacher trying to tell you kind of like some inspirational story of some sort, but then you just don't realize. I don't think they thought it out, like where this was going. And there's one story.
Well, these stories were fucking like he knew how to weave a story. This guy should have been a screenwriter because he could take you down this fun, nice trail, and all of a sudden fucking turn on you. You'd be like, "Holy fuck! I didn't realize that's what this movie was about."
Well, this one teacher I had, it's not like real based on true story thing. But he one time was all saying like he was trying to give an inspirational story to the class, and he was all like, "All right, so I got a little story for you kids," and this is like 8th grade. So this ain't...
8th grade's the time when there's a bunch of kids sitting there with their arms crossed like,
Exactly.
yeah, what do you got to tell me?
Exactly. Like, impress me. Fuck you. You know, that's 8th grade. So, anyway, we're sitting there and he's like, all right, so there's this chicken egg that got mixed in to a bunch of eagles. You know, oh no, what was this? It was an eagle egg that got mixed into a bunch of chickens. That's what it was. And then,
So what, you saying we're chickens here, man?
no, just let me finish the story, Thomas. Let me finish the story. Now, the eagle was born, and it was raised like a chicken. And then one day it went out and looked upon the other eagle. It says, gee, I wish I could do that. And the chicken said, you can't do that. You were raised like a chicken. Well, the chicken grew old and one day died. And it was like, and he never really reached his full potential. It's just like, what the fuck was this? You know, this is kind of like right before graduation, too, from the 8th grade. You think he's going to give us this inspirational story?
Yeah.
And he comes in like, well, you know, like, you could have summed that up quicker. You didn't have to wrap it in the story, you know?
So
It's almost kind of like a German fairy tale. Like, German fairy tales are sometimes like the most depressing things possible. Like Little Mermaid, you know? Like,
yeah. Well, that's not German. That's Denmark.
that's Denmark? Oh, okay. That was German. Well, it was like, you know, that for instance, I was just kind of like, you know, like, yeah, she wanted to fucking, you know, like, be human, but she had to get her tail cut in half. She had to dance with this asshole. He said, that was fun watching you dance. Fuck you, you're dead.
It was live.
Original.
Get used to it.
That was the original Disney cut.
I know Disney always makes these ones like, they're like, let's turn to a happy tale.
Well, it's like, even Hunchback of, like, Notre Dame, like, the original, like, I don't know how they looked at that story and said, let's make this a children's movie.
You know, I'm really waiting to the point where they go like, you know what's another one we could do? We could do Dracula. Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's old.
I don't know. Who knows how long? There's so much vampire stuff out there, maybe. But no, there's like the original Hunchback of Notre Dame. Like Quasimodo, when he meets Esmeralda, she's not like, oh, he's such a beautiful soul. She's like,
Whoa, retard, get the fuck away from me.
Get the fuck away from me. What the fuck is wrong with you? Stay back.
See this yardstick? Don't get any closer.
Yeah, exactly. And then she ends up falling in love with the good-looking douchebag guy from the movie. But then the bad guy, the priest or whatever, ends up, or whatever he is, the judge, he like stabs that guy in the back, blames it on Esmeralda. She gets hung. Quasimodo murders that guy. So then what's he do? He digs up Esmeralda's grave, lays in there with her until he dies of starvation and crying. How the fuck did Disney
Lights come back on the room? Okay, so this is the one we're going to do for our next Disney picture.
That's the sequel.
Great speech, Jim. Are you sure that's what we got? Oh, fuck. What else are we going to do? Another fairy tale? Come on. Kids fucking hate fairy tales. It's in the polls now. It's the 90s.
They love old French stories. That's what kids really love.
They're really into
French
France.
tragedies. Yeah. So. But no, I don't know. I don't get it sometimes, but, you know.
Yeah, fucking
Yeah.
stories.
I'm just surprised John Garcia got wrapped up in all that, because he was such a good little Christian kid, so.
It's just Soviet things.
Yeah, I know.
It's just politics.
I know.
Well, yeah, it's just one of those ones. It's like, it's funny, I think about that, like, just as kids, just being so obsessed. And I'm going to blame it on two things. I say Command and Conquer, but really, the History Channel. The History Channel is just like, that's all you watched all day long. You go home, you go, wow, World War II,
For a while.
Cold War,
For a while, History Channel
Bay of Pigs.
For a while, History Channel really seemed like it was just the World War II channel. For a while. And then they kind of like started bringing in like a few other things. Now it's more like kind of a bad reality TV show.
Well, just like many other stations, it's just kind of like there's about 3 or 4 real history stuff on, and then everything else is and a lot of the reality shows, they're not even history reality. I mean, I'll say Pawn Stars. Okay, at least there's history involved.
I hate that show.
American Pickers, there's history involved, but then you get things like Axemen,
Ice Road Truckers.
Where's the history?
Wasn't the Swamp People one of them?
Yeah, I think that's on that one too. And it's just kind of like
where they, of course, do the 300 slow motion, you know.
Yeah.
Where Ice Road Truckers, every episode is that is like, oh, this truck.
Old man Bill has been driving this road for years.
Exactly. He's like, oh, he's going over this frozen lake. Is he gonna make the frozen lake? Well, I don't know if I'm gonna make the frozen lake. He made it past the frozen lake. Hey,
Jesus fucking Christ.
Tune in next week, bitches. You know.
Well, the thing about a lot of those shows, like Axemen, like it seems like it should be like a one-shot show. Like, oh, let's just learn about these guys in Oregon doing their logging, and it's like kind of like an educational show.
Uh-huh.
Like that makes sense, and then it's kind of like, oh, it's really the same thing for 24 fucking episodes.
The Swamp People one, wasn't that like kind of? Didn't one of the people actually die going after an alligator or some shit?
I don't know, because I never really watched it. I
never saw it either.
I saw it once when it was on somebody else's TV at their house. It was just for like 10 minutes or something.
I saw an ad for it on whatchamacallit, on whenever we go to the movie theaters.
Deadliest Catch was like where the one guy died.
Deadliest Catch, I know that guy.
But that guy died because he smoked and just drank Red Bulls like nobody's business.
Maybe I'm wrong here, but I heard one of the people, I never watched the show, I just saw an ad for it when we went to the movie theater. And because they would show those big screen ads for like before TV. The movie, yeah.
Well, it's one of those always kind of like, no, fuck you. We're not here to see TV. We're here to see movies. goddammit.
They always do. I think it's kind of like, well, go to.
Well, the movies kind of like, well, I mean, like the TV's pays us, I mean,
yeah,
No,
it's kind of.
We need the money, man.
I know it's kind of like we're giving them our daughters to fuck, but really,
But I mean, like, I gave up my daughter 2 years ago. Yeah. Totally worth it. Not complaining one bit.
He said from sitting in the living room of his trailer park.
He's like, I'm still a big producer in my heart.
No, Regal's doing fine, but we can make.
No, because they'll take anybody's money. They're like, we don't give a fuck.
Morals.
Give us your money, Apple. Give us your money, television. Give us your money, Honda.
Yeah.
We don't give a flying fuck.
And they'll play like Apple stuff and Microsoft stuff at the exact same time.
And Google stuff, and they don't really care. It's just like, we got all these fucks that come in week after week to watch movies that hate television, hate fucking Macintosh, hate cars, only like movies, but guess what? We're gonna bombard them with ads.
Be sure to get the hamster ads in there at some point, too.
Yeah, get those fucking hamster ads in there. Those are relatable to the people in the theater.
Hamsters, you get it, right?
Because you're fat. I'm Mr. Regal. Of course I'm in good shape. I have money.
Money keeps you in good shape. Unless you...
I make a money protein shake every morning.
No,
with your money, too, watch. Look at it. Here's that $10 you just gave me. Oh, that tastes so fucking good.
He has like half of it left. You know what? I don't think I want it. Just chucks it outside.
Jim, get in here and clean this. Well, you like your minimum wage, don't you? Guess what? I didn't flush any of the toilets in the bathroom. That's your job. I don't get paid minimum wage. Like I said, when you get paid a lot of money, you just don't work anymore.
You just watch other people work. Why do you think you have so many of these reality shows about people working?
Because I'm the one who produced them.
No, but some people...
We just learned that Mr. Regal is really the man who controlled the world.
I'd be a little disappointed if it was Mr. Regal. I mean, if it was like, like Mr. like Viacom or like,
Bill Gates
Rupert Murdoch or something. Like, okay, that makes sense.
Mr. Regal's just this man who's like, he's in the shadows.
He's the Illuminati. That's like expecting kind of like, of all the
the chain businesses.
No, it's like, say there's like an Illuminati of fast food industries. Just say the first one that comes to mind. Who would be the one in charge?
You probably think McDonald's or something.
McDonald's.
But that's like Long John Silver's.
It's a big Popeye's chicken or something.
Yeah. Well.
It's kind of, or be kind of like, all right, bring it back around. We won't stay hooked on this, but be kind of like Gus in Breaking Bad. You wouldn't think it's like the biggest drug dealer in the state is
the
like
guy who runs like the chicken farm.
Yeah. So
chicken barn.
Which whenever they do like a drug trade of like that chicken place, I am getting kind of hungry right now.
I know, I like that. That looks pretty fucking good. Well, it's like El Pollo Loco.
Yeah. Exactly.
When I see that, that's what I see.
But
you ever been to an El Pollo Loco?
I don't think I have. No.
It's kind of like the place where you just go and get like a rotisserie chicken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can get other things there. I'm not too sure what it is, but that's really what it's like. It's like going to go get a rotisserie chicken, but from a fast food restaurant.
Okay. I mean, I know that all these other like Mexican fast food chains exist, but it's kind of like, it ain't Taco Bell, is it? They don't seem to really have that.
Well, this one's not like Mexican food necessarily. It has a Mexican name, but
okay.
It's more, I'd say it's similar to KFC, but you're getting rotisserie
Tex-Mex?
chicken.
Oh, okay.
No, not Tex-Mex. You don't get tacos and burritos here.
No, okay.
Yeah, or I don't think they are. You just go there and you get either get the full rotisserie chicken or you get a bucket of chicken. But I think it's all rotisserie. I don't think there's anything else. That's the only thing I got there. I only went there twice, so I can't tell you what else is on that menu.
I haven't been to any chicken kind of KFC chicken place for
Have you ever been to Popeyes?
No.
You got to go to Popeyes at some point. It's like the really good KFC.
I haven't been to any of those kind of chicken type fast food places, deep fried chicken fast food places for 5 or 6 years. But whenever we have a KFC in town, and whenever I just drive by that KFC,
you get that whiff.
Well, no,
You
I
see those
look.
old people inside.
Well, whenever I did go on there, there's always Fox News on, and there's always a bunch of old people in there waiting to die.
Yeah,
So-
it's always like the senior hangout.
Yeah, and
Just a bunch of seniors standing outside, like arms crossed, leaning on their 57 Chevys.
giving shit to young people.
place! You're gonna have to get ready for a rumble!
Yeah, like leather jackets, start snapping their fingers. Some young couple comes in there, start pushing the guy. Oh, you're wrong. You're in the wrong pound, Sonny. I tell you.
Well, you better give up your woman if you want to come eat here. Me and the boys will take her in the back and have our way with her. That's how you pass in this territory.
And when they go back, all it really is she's just playing pinochle with him.
Go back playing jacks.
Yeah, that's all they're doing with her.
Playing kick the can.
Yeah. Oh, this takes me back. You know. But,
Oh, gives me a raging horn on.
just fuck the Wham poster.
We got one of those back there too.
Wait,
a Wham poster in every bathroom.
Oh, we don't have a Purple Rain one in this one, just a Wham poster.
Fuck Purple Rain.
No, but whenever I drive past,
Actually, we just got a Dean Martin one back there. You just put it in his mouth.
You gain his youth, his wisdom,
His sexiness.
Every single time they stick their dick in the fucking poster, the poster looks a little older. They look a little younger.
Oh, and they go outside and look, standing on the corner, watching all the girls go.
They're like, "How you feeling? What's that? Ain't that a kick in the fuck? What was it?" You know?
Can't remember. Dean walks back in there like his walker.
Comes back in, goes like a kick in the head. Comes right back out. That's what it was. You know. No, whenever I drive past KFC though, they always have ads for like some new product. And KFC, I mean, there's that whole Patton Oswalt joke about the KFC famous bowl.
Well,
I
yeah,
almost feel like they're challenging him to make another joke because they got one I saw a little bit ago.
Are you talking about the one that's a cup?
It's like to-go cup. It's like they pour your whole meal, whatever it is, into a cup, so you can just pour it down your mouth and eat it.
It's not even a bowl. Well, I think what it is like, because you get like a piece of chicken or two, you get a potato wedge. I don't even know what else you get, but you get like
coleslaw or some shit.
I don't think you get any of that stuff, but it's just literally it's made so you can be driving and holding it like you're driving a big gulp, and then just lean over and go, keep driving,
All that shit that like other countries hate
And
us
then
for, like KFC is just like trying to push it on us.
I remember when I was
Trying to promote
when
it.
I was younger, my dad didn't realize that you could just go inside a KFC, or you could not go inside KFC. That there was a drive-through in KFC. He thought he's like. There's a drive-through? I guess because maybe back in the day they didn't have drive-through. So, like, the concept of going to KFC and going through a drive-through to him was mind-blowing, you know? And he's like, well, what do they do? They just, like, put a bucket around your head like you're a horse or something and say, here you go!
Just strap it, just eating it like a fucking mule. You know, it's not going to be reached. You know, the sad thing is as soon as, like, we have cars, and we're already at the point, this technology already exists. Cars that can drive themselves. That already exists. They're just not, like, mass-produced yet.
And well, we have cars that can park themselves that you can go out and buy today.
Yeah, but the second, like, everybody has one of those, or those become a big thing, a new item is going to be, like, from any place, the KFC tray, where your car drives it, you can just eat while your car is driving you wherever.
Well, I feel like in the future what's going to happen is everybody's going to sit in the back of their car, the car's going to drive.
Robo-Alfred's
It's be like the Johnny Cab on Total Recall.
I was just thinking, yeah.
You know, and everybody's just gonna sit in the back and just eat and drink as they're like fucking going to wherever they're going next. And then they'll get out and they'll be in their like little hovercraft things.
Yeah. Like the little hovercraft chairs from Wall-E. You don't even walk, yeah.
Ugh, sad world.
It is a sad world when you look at it. But
at least we can always look back on worlds like the Hobbit of Middle Earth.
good transition.
the worlds where, you know, KFC hasn't existed yet.
Yeah. Well, still, I'm still...
Really, who do you think would invent the KFC out of all the people of Middle Earth? It's clearly not the elves. We all know they're not inventing no KFC.
Not the elves.
Unless the elves invent it to sell it to the dwarves.
I'm gonna say, actually, I don't know. I in all honesty, I think any of them but the elves could invent KFC when you look at it.
Unless they invent it to sell to somebody else. Because I can see the elves like, we fucking hate the dwarves. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna make KFC and send it to them.
I can see
Look at those fat fucks over there.
No beards.
And with all nice slender frames from all our vegetables.
Yeah. Well, I love that part from the first Hobbit when they're like
What the fuck is this?
they're holding up lettuce.
Oh, don't eat anything green.
Yeah. Yes, I'll smoke it.
Yeah, unless you can smoke it.
But there was I don't know. I could see it being like I could see the Hobbits. Like maybe the Hobbits started.
The Hobbits would
end up being like something very.
Maybe probably the original people start like a food chain.
It'd be something very simple and modest, like oh, going down to a nice KFC, eh? I wonder if that sounds nice. I don't know why he's Canadian.
Well, the Hobbits are the only people that don't invent like weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah. You think you just like, oh yeah, just come on down to the KFC, you know, and then like somebody else comes along, maybe the orcs, like we'll turn this into a chain for you, you know.
Yeah, we got the money to back it up. Just a guy in like a orc in a business suit smoking a cigar, puts it out on one of the hobbits.
It's like we can't really say no to them, can we? You know,
They got big swords and big cocks.
they beat us with both of them.
Well, the orcs are kind of like the Republicans of the world.
They are the Republicans.
It's just like this is a Republican as fuck.
Or the dragon at least.
Yeah, the dragon's very Republican. He's just like, I love me gold. I'll sleep in it.
Just you and me are the only ones left in the theater. Just I don't think people really laugh at the same stuff as we do. But the part when like Bilbo's walking up when they actually get to the gold mine or whatever, and the dragon is just lying in a giant pile of gold. It's just in like a little bit of like gold like slides off the mountain. You see the dragon's eye. It's one of those things. It's just funny right there, just to us, just because the fact that like I just get the image of like Dick Cheney or somebody from like Enron just sleeping and like rolls over and the gold is kind of I just get it's the same thing really. All this money they fucking stole and robbed from people.
And then they just go and sleep in it.
Yeah.
Like Scrooge McDuck. Scrooge McDuck's always like the lovable Republican.
He is, but he gives back. He goes on adventures and all that. I mean, he originally wasn't. By the time they made like the
DuckTales.
Well, I think before DuckTales, I think it was the whatchamacallit, the Christmas Carol movie. Because by the end he redeems himself, and then he becomes like. Then they made DuckTales later. So I think by that point,
DuckTales. Whoa.
Yeah, that was actually I missed that show.
That's I haven't seen it in a while, but.
I was over at Nora's house a little bit ago.
She has
the entire. She has the whole series.
I know, that's pretty badass.
You got to bring her back on the podcast at some point. But anyway, no, but like, it's the same thing to me. So you and me are like the only ones laughing. What the fuck are those guys laughing about?
What's so funny about a dragon sleeping in gold? Everything.
Doesn't even fucking do anything with it. He just like, oh, just like gold. I'll say this though.
A lot of jokes for us, like it could be just an image, because I notice that we'll laugh at things when it's like nobody said anything, no action has happened. It's just like literally there's a dragon sleeping in gold.
Well, there's certain things like there's like just small things like there's the project we're working on, and this is kind of like a character in this project. But there's a part when one of like the hobbits, he says, "We're never gonna leave, are we? I'm the sad British boy." Like it's just like a character.
That's why he's like, I'm the young boy on this journey, though I'm balding already.
That's a drawback of being like a dwarf.
I know.
But no, the movie I thought was actually pretty good, but it totally ended like the ending is the equivalent of Peter Jackson just walking out saying, "Fuck y'all, I got your money.
Come back.
See you next year." Drops the microphone. My dick starts playing. He walks off stage.
My dick is bigger than yours.
Yeah, he starts playing that song as he walks off stage. That's the equivalent to this ending right here.
I mean, it's like I knew it was gonna happen because I was like towards the end. It's like, okay, it's gonna happen maybe here. No, not there. Okay, here. Oh, okay. The dragon's going right towards the town to kill it. That seems about right. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of weird because you think about in the book, it's just like, how much? I mean, like really, it almost feels like it has like the ending like
20 minutes left.
Well, sort of like the Street Fighter. The Street Fighter is one of the greatest movies of all time. Street Fighter as in the Japanese one.
Yeah.
Not the...
Sonny Chiba,
1974, 73. It is literally one of the greatest martial arts movies I can think of. It has literally like the worst ending I can almost think of too.
Yeah.
Because the movie ends where it literally could have been finished in 30 seconds. 30 seconds more of footage. He is at the final boss of the entire movie. Or whatever, they're in a fight, and it's just like once they're gonna be like, okay, he's gonna fight. He's just gonna finish him, and then it just goes like, the Street Fighter, come back next time or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And the second one has nothing.
And the second one doesn't even conclude that whatsoever.
I guess we know he won.
Yeah, that's all I know. He's still going on. But yeah, it's just. And then it's like I haven't checked out like the other Street. I still really need to sit down and watch.
I got the collection. I really got to sit down.
I got all 4 of them.
Sister Street Fighter, I hear, is what they just use. They just use the name Street Fighter just to sell it. It's actually.
Yeah. Well, I think he's in that one though too.
He's in it, but
he's not the main character or something weird like that.
It's like the next Karate Kid, I guess.
But it's like Red Sonja, where it's just like. Arnold Schwarzenegger's supposed to be just like a cameo, but they put his face like full frontal on the thing.
They try to sell it as Conan.
Yeah. Which is kind of weird because he could have just played Conan because Red Sonja is a Conan character. But
what you gonna do?
He plays a different character though.
Probably right.
But his Narget looks just like Conan.
Probably right stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just because whatever when they're along with Sonja. I don't know. It might have been some weird thing if they made it as a Conan movie or something.
Yeah.
But
anyway, back to Hobbit though.
Yeah.
Something I noticed about this movie, because they started, because I read The Hobbit a long time ago. I don't remember it that well. I remember the basic story and certain key moments. Mm-hmm. But this one, they're adding in, another story, made up, new story elements to lead into Fellowship of the Ring, which I guess the third one's primarily going to be these new story elements.
The third one will probably just be it'll be like the Star Wars 3, where it's kind of like everything just kind of goes connect.
Uh-huh. And then at the same time, though, I think that they're taking... I never read this one, but I know there's the book, The Smitherin, or whatever it is.
Well, there's that other J.R.R. Tolkien one.
Set of Middle-earth.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. The only people that ever seem to have that one were the people that are like the super Lord of the Rings fans.
Yeah.
It's like, I got this kind of cool, because I always like encyclopedia type things. I got the Lord of the Rings encyclopedia that I got a long time ago. It's I think it's before the movies, too, because it has just the illustrations.
That makes it much cooler.
Yeah. It's kind of like if you've ever played the Super Nintendo Lord of the Rings game, it's kind of like, oh, that's badass. It's like, it's not, I don't think it's based off the Ralph. The
Bakshi movie?
Yeah, Bakshi movie. It's I think it's just based off the game, based off the game? Based off the book. They made a book after that game?
Yeah.
But, no, there is all this other crap, but I've never read that other book. Or what have you.
I haven't either. I mean, I heard things about it, and I'm guessing what they're going to do is they're going to take, little bits of that book and toss it into Hobbit. Maybe, because I'm guessing, I heard it's mainly a Bible of how, Middle-earth happened, but maybe it's going to be one of those things where there's probably other stories that happen within it, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens with that. I'm looking forward to the next one. It just seemed kind of like... There's several places that movie could have ended. Even though I really like the part when Frodo goes into... Smogs, yeah. That part's all really cool, and that part's even... I'll say this, Smog's actually very creepy. I was just like, okay, It's gonna be a dragon. But the way Benedict Cumberbatch talks, the way how well the dragon was animated, that part actually was pretty, actually kind of creepy to watch.
No, yeah, that was pretty... I like that part a lot. Mm-hmm. I probably this one was probably just a little bit stronger. Kind of like, in a sense, how the Two Towers and Return of the King is to the first one. Because the first one, you have to get started, so I know some people are big fans. I like how it just gets started. I'm like, I like it. We got to the point now. Let's get to the action.
Yeah, that's
what this one kind of had. This one had more action in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool they threw Legolas in there. I was like, why not? I kind of like how they kind of expanded the book in a sense. It's just
I'm guessing something's gonna happen in the third one where Legolas gets a different opinion of elves, because in this one he's a little bit of a douche. He's kind of a
well, it's kind of like
douche-a-loss.
Oh yeah, well I guess it's that chick that Unlock wants to bang that dwarf.
Well, he was even a dick before that happened. He just, I thought it was, they have, I'm not sure if this is actually canon from the books, but when there's the one dwarf, he's like, this is quite all, he's looking through his wallet or whatever. He's like, this is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. What is this? That's me son Gimli,
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
So, maybe it's one of those...
I think that was supposed to be one of those ones, some people, I was like, oh, they have such a relationship later in life.
Yeah. And then...
They actually turn out to be gay lovers!
Exactly. But it's one
of those... Just that one night where Gimli and Legolas wake up just whoa, a little too much air. Oh, fuck. What happened?
We don't tell Aragorn or the hobbits, all right?
Aragorn can't know. He can't know.
You can't tell my dwarf brothers. I'll be exiled.
They hate queers. They invented the game Smear the Queer. No. It's where you capture an elf and you throw him in the center of a football game.
I think something's gonna happen in the third one where they end up where he ends up becoming less douchey, or something happens. He gets the respect of an elf, or he gets the respect of a dwarf. Something like that. I'm guessing. because the first one in the Fellowship and on, he's very kind of like, seems kind of wiser, you know? He's just kind of like, yes, I'm the young hip guy, yet I am very wise, you know?
Well, I think it's supposed to be like, you know, there's like this big, because Lord of the Rings has that weird, like, there's like this huge, like, 60, 70 year, like, time period, though people don't age that big of a change.
Yeah.
Unless you're human.
Mm-hmm. This Gandalf, he's like still...
Yeah, God, who knows when Gandalf was young? Like
what
1,000 years ago.
Like in The Hobbit, he just has like some kind of like disorder of some sort. Like in Hobbit, he's just like, I'm 27! But no, I thought the flick was pretty good.
No, I liked it quite a bit. I like the scene that was really cool and was like where they're going down the barrels in the river.
Yeah, that was a really
like,
cool
all
part.
the action that was great, and they even had like that long, like I kind of like those like long wraparound cuts. I mean, I know it's all like 90% like cartoon CG, so it's easier to do than like a live action movie. It's not like Tony Jaa and
Ung back or something.
No Protector, like when it's going up the fucking stairs.
Oh yeah, that part's awesome.
Which is probably like top 5 most amazing scenes I've ever seen in any movie.
Yeah, that is like
that scene in itself just like holy fuck.
I like Ung Bak more, but that scene is probably better than any scene in Ung Bak.
You know, I love that. I love the Protector. I don't know. I like it just as much as Ong Bak.
I think that I don't know. I think I kind of like some of the people he fights more in Ong Bak. I think they give him a better fight kind of. I don't know. I still really like Protector. Don't get me wrong. It's not like that I'm saying movie shit or nothing. I think I just like it's like the first Tony Jaa movie I saw, so it's kind of like
so it kind of sticks in your. I think I saw the Protector first and then saw Ong Bak, strange enough.
Oh, okay.
But like I think also because it's just like it's got that like the saddest moment I can almost think of in a movie too. Top 5 saddest moments goes along with like that the Tarzan '80s movie too.
The part when the
wait, just gonna comes out. It's like that elephant was my brother. He was my father. Like all these scenes.
I kind of throw the part where the shoe dies and Roger Rabbit too. That's for me. That's really one of the saddest things. Just sad little shoe like rubbing up against like Christopher Lloyd. And Christopher Lloyd, just being evil prick he is, just drops the shoe right in the acid.
I know. Poor shoe.
Yeah. But no, back to this movie though. I haven't seen it in a long time. I want to watch that again. Anyway,
I was actually strange just thinking of that movie because I was thinking like, I'm like, boy, like you know, movies nowadays are like. No, nobody says it, but I'm gonna say it. You're really just watching a ginormous cartoon with like 10% live action in it.
That's a good point, yeah.
Because there really isn't. I mean, like so many movies nowadays, unless it's a close shot, it's all CG 90% of the time, and you know a couple, you know, here and there. But that's really what we're watching. You know, Pacific Rim is a ginormous cartoon too. That's what they are, and it's funny because you know people still always have that like, I don't know, prejudice against like cartoons, but it's like. That's what you're fucking watching.
That pretty much
There's no difference. It's just a giant Pixar movie.
That's what people. That is the case. That seems. The one part though, during the whole barrel part, was there's probably the, I guess you say the fattest dwarf with the big orange beard.
Yeah, that part was badass.
And he's like fighting while still inside the barrel as Sticks punches his arms out. He's spinning around.
He's rolling and he's like flying off the water, bouncing off the ground, just hitting all these orcs just like after another. It's just this really long scene. And then when he finally gets to the end, after he's hit as many orcs as, like, you know, 20 orcs, he lands, he's got these 2 blades, and he does the spinning. Almost like a video game. He just starts spinning around like a Ninja Turtle, and, like,
there's gonna be a Happy Meal toy of that guy doing that.
Yeah, like, you'll pull a string and it'll spin around.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know what makes me laugh? That's, like, you get to the very end, though, and there's that town that's in the middle of the lake. If you knew there was a ginormous fire-breathing dragon that lived fucking 10 miles away, would you still live in rickety, like, old, like, Lake Tahoe town?
It probably has really low, like, rent, property tax, and real estate, you know?
I just think about it's like, you know there's a dragon there. I mean, maybe he hasn't attacked in 50 years, but...
you know that
day's coming.
You know, like, the husband who was, like, you know the husband of somebody who moved in that
It's
town.
like Pompeii. It's like, you know that fucking thing's gonna blow. Actually, I don't think they did. If you went back to Pompeii, like, you know, like, I don't know, like, 10 years after it, and you just said, like, you know, I'm gonna live here again. You better know that thing's gonna blow at some point again. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but... Well, yeah, but the low property tax, oh, you got a point there.
It's kind of like, it's probably kind of like, now, honey, I know what you're thinking. Like, what is it, Thomas? Like, there's some really great deals on some places.
Here's some brochures. Yeah. I got a brochure. Look at it. It makes it look great. I mean, there's a full-on mall there in the center. It's floating. How cool is that?
Yeah. The kids could take a boat to school. That's pretty cool, right? The kids like boats.
Did you always want to take a boat to school? I mean, I always did.
I can't swim. Yeah, see?
So, that's why we got a boat.
Yeah. Then
I can be a fisherman. You can gut fishes. How does that sound? Milk fishes.
Oh, you'll learn to love it. It goes
That's
up
gonna be great. Come on.
You're like, what's this place called again? Lake Town, right next to like Mountain Death. All right, so I know it's not the Stockton of Middle Earth. It's not that. It's more like
The Fresno.
No, he's like, it's more like I guess the Chernobyl. There's a power plant there. Chances are nothing's gonna happen, but if it does, we're all fucked. But it's probably never gonna happen. So that's
there's risks in life.
yeah.
We go somewhere else. There could be a tornado or
Orcs.
Orcs. Yeah, fuck. You want to deal with orcs again? We've been through this. Come on,
We lost our first 8 kids to orcs.
He likes sleeping. As long as you don't touch his money, he's pretty cool. I mean, I met the guy, so sort of. We kind of had a long distance chat, but still.
He's just yelling at the mountain. Is it cool if we're moving? No. He said nothing. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah.
You can actually go up and ask him. Fuck you.
You were going to send the pamphlet. Don't go touch his gold.
Yeah.
Everything's good as long as you don't touch his fucking gold.
Yeah. I think that town need to think that out just a little bit better.
But then again, I guess it's just like in real life. It's like the people that live in tornado areas, and what do? They go back and rebuild in that same area again. You're just kind of like
flood areas.
Happens every year. It's not like it happens once every 50 years. It happens every year. I just always kind of watch it, just like, why don't you just move? There's got to be somewhere. Go fucking north. I mean, I know you have to deal with snow, but at least there's no tornadoes. It's like,
I love what Robin Williams says about about towns with hurricanes and tsunamis and all that. He's all saying like the flood came and took everything and we lost what's the first? When was the last time this happened? Last year. We just got done rebuilding. You can move. We love the view.
I know you just watch this. It's like it just seems like.
All right, so this is I guess maybe the Louisiana of Middle Earth, maybe.
Maybe.
Hurricanes and all that shit? I don't know. Floods.
No. It's a town on the water.
Town on the water? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it looks cool until you realize that you're fucking 10 miles away from a dragon. Yeah. It's the size of your town almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
And your town's all made out of wood.
Mm-hmm. They really did not think this out.
No.
It just seems kind of weird, though. The movie just would end. I mean, you think it would end a little bit of a different spot, because it literally ends the dragon flying off saying, I'm going to fuck your shit, and then it just ends abruptly right there.
And then, Bilbo just kind of, looking off, no.
Not.
Oh, I wish I could stop him, but I can't fly. I've got my little ring.
Yeah, I kind of figured it was going to have... I didn't think it was going to have that kind of ending. I thought it was going to be more of an ending around the lines of, I guess the first one, because the first one actually felt all right, there's more to come, but that's an ending.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's an ending. Well, it does feel like whenever it's the second one and you know there's a third one, you already know there's a third one, it feels like you can pull those endings because it's people already know. It's not like they're surprised.
Well, even...
Because I think on the first one, I think probably a majority of the people probably didn't. They probably just thought it was one movie, actually.
Yeah.
Because, unless you read it, where would you figure out that was only one movie,
Yeah.
So they probably kind of need an ending like that going, oh, okay, so I guess they are doing another one. Where this one's kind of I think people by now realize that they're going to do more. I think some people still thought maybe this is the only, it's going to end here.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. I'm going to come to the point, at first I thought, it was that seems dumb. That book is 300 and something pages long. Why does there need to be more than one movie? And then now I see they're kind of just add stuff. It's well, whatever, that's cool.
It's really good.
You could use more Lord of the Rings in your life.
Yeah. I thought it was actually kind of something I want to say. I'm glad Orlando Bloom's getting work. Because
really, he after Lord of the Rings, he was such a cool character. Oh my god, Orlando Bloom's fucking badass. And after that, he just became everybody's bitch in movies. He was Brad Pitt's bitch in Troy, even though he killed Brad Pitt, which we don't like to mention that part.
I like to forget that part ever happened.
Yeah. He was Johnny Depp's bitch in Pirates of the Caribbean. He just really got these roles where you're oh man, I'm
pretty sure Pirates of the Caribbean was originally made for Orlando Bloom.
I think it was. And Johnny Depp's supposed to be well, we'll throw Johnny Depp in there. He's kind of an older actor now. He'll be the
Han Solo.
He'll be the Han Solo. Fucking Han Solo.
Yeah.
It's Han Solo grabbing that fucking lightsaber, give me that, boy. It just goes over and just kicks Darth Vader in the balls, slices his head off. There you go. That's how you get this fucking done.
Yeah, they didn't even bring him back for the fourth one. So I'd come back no, we're good.
No, you probably got something to do. Oh, no, I don't got anything.
This is all I got.
That's really.
Oh, you'll be fine.
I haven't really seen him in a movie in about 5 years.
And then plus he's
probably in stuff, but he's clearly not in anything that it comes on screen.
He's primarily only in period pieces because there's that one like movie Elizabethtown.
Yeah, because it's
almost famous.
Yeah,
what's his name?
Cameron Crowe.
Cameron Crowe. I was like one of the only like movies he wasn't like I can think of that he wasn't in like a period piece.
Yeah.
And so I think he's like, this just isn't raw for me. I'm gonna go back in my time machine and go back to the 1800s, England,
where all belong.
Yeah, that's how it felt at least.
Yeah.
Because that's all he ever, as long. I mean, you got your niche, I guess.
Well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with being part of period. Really, being in costume period piece drama is probably the best thing, anyways. Like, I think that'd be cooler to me. And I'm like, fuck, you're in like regular time all the time. Why don't you like go to fantasy world and stuff? Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think the thing was he was looking to play these kind of like because everybody loved like Legolas seemed like. So it was like this guy's got a promising future, and then it just kind of really comes back to like, well, he's Legolas. That's your thing.
Like Sean Astin, I think a lot of the Hobbits people thought were gonna be good. Like Sean Astin kind of disappeared after like that too.
Well,
he wasn't like he was a fan favorite. A lot of people.
He was in like Encino Man.
He was in Encino Man. Well, no, I mean, he kind of, because, like, you think, you get something big, like Lord of the Rings, like, oh, everything's going to be huge, but then he just kind of, like, Sean Astin, just kind of...
You kind of realize all the big actors in Lord of the Rings all play, like, the small characters. When it really gets down to it. Well, that's almost like what the guy played Aragorn, too.
Viggo Mortensen?
Viggo Mortensen. Like, you don't see him in big movies anymore, too. They kind of gave him, because I remember, like, Hidalgo was kind of a big thing, even though it's kind of, like, a forgotten movie nowadays. But when it came out, I remember it was kind of, like, his first movie. He's like... from the guy from Lord of the Rings comes a doggo about a man who takes a horse to the desert.
Ain't that some badass? I never saw it, actually.
It's actually a really good movie.
Is it like a Western?
Yeah, it's like a Western in, like, the Middle East.
Saudi Arabia or something?
Yeah.
Okay. I was curious about it. Never saw it, though. Is Hidalgo the name of the horse?
Yeah.
Okay, I figured as much.
But that one was cool. But then, like, after that, he kind of, like, he had The Road, but that wasn't a major motion picture.
Well, it seems like you get kind of like these movies that people notice them. And you're like a respected actor, but they're not the huge Hollywood blockbuster, which they don't need to be a huge Hollywood blockbuster.
No, they don't need to be that too. But you sometimes kind of expect.
He was in like Eastern Promises, which people liked a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was in like a lot of smaller movies. Mm-hmm. But they kind of like, I guess you get this one big movie, and then you kind of slope back down to kind of where you were at before.
I want to say he was in something bigger a little bit ago. I'm drawing a blank on what it was.
I'm just trying to think of like a Brad Pitt size movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, even Brad Pitt, when you look at the things he does, he'll do like something like The Tree of Life.
Well, I think
Killing Him Softly.
But you know that Brad Pitt, he always every year he does at least one big movie. So it's like you remember who I am.
It's like Freddy Krueger. If they forget about me, I'll lose my power.
Exactly. He's like I can't lose that stardom power. Where you notice a lot of other guys, they just stick to like the Killing Him Softly movies, and they just do about like 4 of those a year. Mm-hmm. But they don't do that one big movie just because in a sense that's kind of like what World War Z is, just like remember my name.
Yeah, because I guess
remember my name, damn it, because you're not gonna remember me for the council, you're not gonna remember me for Killing Them Softly, so remember this.
Yeah, I think that is the case, and because he always does.
And then he was also in that like the black movie, the slave one.
12 Years a Slave, which I haven't seen yet, but yeah, he's in that one.
Because I'm like, the Brad Pitt movie, it's like, he's like the 8th character in the roster, but...
I guess that's probably one of those movies where you focus, I haven't seen it, where you focus probably heavily on 4 of those actors, and everybody else like, oh, look, there's that one big actor right there.
Well, I think that's always kind of a good way to do movies, is like, make the main characters not huge actors, but then make everybody else around them. I would say that's like the true romance style, because if you think about Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette, I mean, they were in stuff, but they weren't, like, humongous actors at the time. And then they're kind of, like, surrounded by... Even though Brad Pitt wasn't a humongous actor either. But now, in retrospect, he sort of is. But they surrounded everybody else surrounded by big characters. Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper. Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
James Gandolfini wasn't big
but he wasn't big at that time.
Yeah.
I'm just so I can say Brad Pitt. Christopher Walken.
Yeah, that's right, Christopher Walken. He has that
There's
one
tons
scene.
of people in that, but Val Kilmer.
What's Val Kilmer?
He plays Elvis in it.
What?
He plays Elvis in that movie.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, because he always comes in. He's like a spirit. He's like a spirit animal that comes in and talks to him.
There's a guy who always looks like your brother. He's not a big.
I know.
That guy. Whenever I say him, like looks like
he was
just
like
your brother.
He had his own sitcom for a little while. That guy.
Yeah.
He was like the guy that plays like the actor in that.
Yeah, he's like the guy's like Floyd. Did you smoke all my life? All my like actor papers. I can't remember what he says. Fuck it.
No, there's like no, but then like there's the
Floyd's like,
the
"Would
chick,
you go out, get some beer?
What's his name?
So I can sit here and watch more TV.
Bring cleaning supplies.
Yeah, he's like, I'll clean your house.
No, but
that's what I do, man. I clean people's houses so I can live
What was
and
the
use their cable.
That's all he needs is cable. No, but no, that's what Brad Pitt always would play. He always played hillbillies or stoners for the longest time.
What I like is like, Brad Pitt told Tony Scott in that movie, he's like, my character really just doesn't do anything. Why don't we just make him a stoner? Like, he's not doing anything anyway, so let's just give him a little bit more character. Like, let's just have him, like, if he's just gonna sit here and say lines, let's have him, like, smoke pot and...
Give him
Really, I just want to smoke pot. That's all I want to do. I got like 10 lines in this entire movie. Give me that.
Just give me something to do, you know?
Give me a bag of chips and some pot and cable.
He actually never left the set the whole time.
This was there.
It wasn't until they broke down the set till he's like, alright, gets up and leaves.
They actually put him in the moving van as they broke down the set. They're like, oh, well, fuck, I thought that guy, thought he's part of the set. Jesus Christ, I didn't know that was a real person.
That was like an animatronic guy or something. He kept on saying the same thing. Do you got more pot? Do you got more Lay's chips?
Why'd you turn the cable off?
But no, what was I gonna say? There's some of the trailers that we saw for the movie.
Oh, the Spider-Man 2 trailer?
Spider-Man 2 trailer, which was weird because in the very middle of like you left for a second.
Well, I was like, this movie's 3 hours long. Better go use the restroom right now. It's like, Life of Mitty, I've seen this trailer like.
Well, it was a new Walter Mitty trailer.
Oh, was
too.
it?
Yeah,
well, that's okay. I've seen it.
You'll see it eventually.
I'll see the movie, so I don't worry about it.
Yeah, and then there's actually like in the middle, like you came in like right at the right point because
I came right in. Right was like I saw the green of like this movie's been pre-approved.
But before that though, it was like one of those things like what's her name? Emma Stone was on screen saying like, "Hello, with Regal Cinemas, we're here to talk about Spider-Man 2." You know that whole thing.
What, you couldn't afford Spider-Man? No.
I think she's probably more expensive than Spider-Man.
No, she probably is. That guy, because who knows who that Spider-Man guy is?
He was in Social Network. Beyond that, I don't know anything else he was in. But
well, he wasn't the main character of Social Network, now was he?
No. But he was. They had that whole thing, and then they showed the movie. So it's like weird. They slapped that right in the middle of the trailer. There's the little thing where they stop the commercials and all that, or ads.
That new Spider-Man looks cool.
It does look cool.
The title sounds weird. Amazing Spider-Man 2, though. I don't know what it is about that. I guess it makes sense, but it just feels like... I feel like that's one of the few times, don't put the 2 on there, put a more creative title.
Mm-hmm. Or you put like the Spectacular Spider-Man or
Sensational that'd be kind of cool just to use all the different ones for each one.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man.
The Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ultimate Spider... Yeah, like that'd be kind of cool if they did that. That might confuse the average Joe.
These ones are actually
Mom,
more...
Pop in Oklahoma might be confused again.
As far from what I've seen of this one, rather from the trailer, and then like the original, not the original, Amazing Spider-Man, they seem to be kind of like taken from Ultimate Spider-Man, and then a little bit from like the original '60s run of Spider-Man. That seemed to be like just the tone and the vibe and story wise, The
one that I like what they kind of did with like I guess like the first Amazing Spider-Man. I like how they kind of made Peter Parker not that nerdy. Mm-hmm. Like he's a scientist and all that stuff, but he's more like a little bit cooler in a sense. He's not like wow.
Yeah.
Like because I always like the Peter Parker in the animated series. That like when I think of Spider-Man, like that's the one I kind of like where he's kind of like he's more just like I do science, but I also do weightlifting too.
Yeah.
On weekends, me and the gang get out and.
With a nice sweater vest and
But I kind of like when he's not like just too nerdy. When he's like super nerdy, it's just kind of like okay, now he's just weird and creepy. Let's make him at least kind of like more like a guy who's kind of like he's a little bit more normal, but he does all the science and all this stuff too.
Well, even they left out of I'm glad they left out like the bad '90s haircut from Ultimate Spider-Man.
It was there for 12 issues, maybe more, or 12 not issues, but 12 volumes or more.
It was there until he almost died.
16 volumes, 19 volumes.
It was there, it was like 20, it's like 24 volumes altogether because he has his hair, and then I want to say somewhere like at the when they change it when it went to white covers, it was after Ultimatum. All the girls sit down and say, "All right, we all agree your hair sucks. We're gonna change it."
I know Brian Michael Bendis really likes this haircut, but
yeah, maybe it was the artist. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe the artist like no.
The artist changes, so I'm assuming it's Brian Michael Bendis.
Well, Michael Bendis had to write it.
He writes in there like, "Don't touch my fucking haircut."
He says, "All right, guys, I'll turn around when Brian isn't looking. We're going to switch this thing out."
Brian Michael Bendis has like the same haircut throughout that whole run.
He says that's why he's like, "Fine, you know what? I'm going to fucking kill him now." How you like that? Yeah.
You kill my haircut, I kill him. Well, the worst part too is that haircut was already dated the second you flipped open page 1 of that.
Yeah. It was outdated by like 95 or 96.
Yeah, like in 2000 when that comic came out, it was like that was already like way beyond. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised that haircut lasted for so long. Like once, like, you look at the haircut, it's like, how the fuck does that fit underneath the Spider-Man suit? He would have like this weird, like, little afro thing poking out the whole time.
He would.
He'd more look like kind of like an alien from like Mars Attacks.
I didn't even think of that. That's a good point.
That's what he would really look like.
And then, well, it looks good. Well, what I like about Amazing Spider-Man 1 was because what they took from Ultimate Spider-Man, you could see like they just kind of took let's remind me a lot of Volume 1 of Ultimate Spider-Man because. They instead of Green Goblin, it was the Lizard.
Yeah.
And they I think they're kind of giving foreshadowing to possibly like Green Goblin becoming Ultimate Green Goblin because what they show in the new trailer, they show Harry Osborn in there.
He's like looking through his dad's shit.
And he's actually on the glider and all that, and you see Chris Cooper, who's playing Norman Osborn, all like fucked up and has these sores all over his faces. I'm guessing, and they say in the first one that he's dying. He needs help with something.
Yeah.
So what I'm guessing is they're probably going to give us a taste of Green Goblin, of like original Green Goblin through Harry Osborn, and then maybe like the third movie or maybe a movie, because they said they want to make a bunch of these. They want to start their own universe. Because Marvel has their own universe, they're trying to start up a Spider-Man universe. And they're going to try...
Because like you could, but it's Sony owns it. So I was gonna say, because really, like when I think of like the Spider-Man universe, and I think of like kind of like if you take like say like the Avengers universe, you know, you got Captain America, Hawkeye, Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, blah 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 blah. When I always think of kind of like the Spider-Man universe in a sense, because and this is just the way I've always just kind of like watched like I guess there's the X-Men kind of section. There's a Spider-Man section, which is really just the New York section. And then there's kind of like the Avengers, even though I know it's all kind of in a similar area. But they feel like they sort of don't fit exactly together.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man, I always think of the characters as like, he's mixed in with Daredevil, and he's mixed in with Punisher, and he's mixed in with, characters like that.
Which Disney, unfortunately, has all those again.
Does Disney have Punisher?
Disney has Punisher again, and they also have...
The sad part about that, though, is like, that makes me wonder, will Disney ever be able to release a Punisher that's...
They said they will at some point.
Mature rated?
They probably won't be under, like, Disney logo.
Well, yeah. Too bad Lionsgate kind of just...
Not even Thor 2. Not even Thor 2 was under a Disney logo. It just said Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
But I want to say this real quick. I'm thinking they might lead into... to, like, Chris Cooper playing kind of Green Goblin who turns in, like, that big green Hulk thing that throws fire.
Oh, yeah.
I think they might do that because they already have all these other hints. And Electro, even though he's played by Jimmy Fox, he looks more kind of like Electro from from Ultimate Spider-Man because the normal Electro usually just has, just the green and yellow suit with the lightning bolts. This one, his whole body's electrified and all that. So,
well, Spider-Man has enough characters that you can kind of like stay in the Spider-Man universe for a long time before you even have to branch out.
Plus, in the trailer, they showed the part where you saw like the Dr. Octopus arms hanging up along with the Vulture wings. So,
too bad you couldn't get Daredevil mixed into Spider-Man though, because that would be think of that movie, the Daredevil Spider-Man movie.
That'd be awesome.
That would be so badass.
Well, what they're trying to do with Daredevil is earlier I was complaining.
It's kind of weird because it's kind of weird how like somebody owns Daredevil and somebody owns Spider-Man because they really just like are like
neighbors.
Yeah, I know. It's just kind of ones they have the same fucking villains too most of the time.
Well, what they said they're going to do is they want to give Marvel Studios is doing a deal with Netflix and trying to like have their own original shows. And I was complaining about like, man, they got to have the Luke Cage Iron Fist show or movie. They're making the Luke Cage Iron Fist TV show for Netflix. Cool. So that's cool. And they have one of the other ones is Daredevil. And they have Jessica Drew, and I think maybe there's someone else in there. And then they're going to lead in to being the Defenders. So once they have this whole show, they're going to lead into the Defenders.
That's cool. I think everybody's kind of copying sort of like the Arrow style.
Well, I think this is actually going to be more probably like, because it's, I don't think they're going to beat around the bush. I think this, since it's already Netflix and they already know what they're doing, I think it's probably going to be more, like...
Arrow's kind of like, by season 2, the beating around the bush part's kind of gone out the window almost. I mean, there's still like a tad bit there, but like they kind of, it made money, we can kind of say, we can be more Green Arrow-like. And probably by season 3 it'll be like Green Arrow, hopefully. Because if he's now Arrow, maybe they'll add the green in by the third season. But they kind of stopped the beating, like really in that first episode of season 2, they kind of like threw out all like the stuff that kind of they had to beat around the bush with in the first one. They said, no, fuck it, don't call me the Hood, call me Arrow. I'm not gonna kill anymore. That was dumb.
Did he actually say that?
Yeah, he just said he wasn't gonna kill. He didn't say that was dumb.
I was going through some shit.
Yeah, I mean, I was angry.
I was on an island for 4 years,
5 years actually. Jesus Christ, I'm forgetting this already.
Just get off my case, Mom! She's still having trouble with his folks. I haven't seen one episode.
His mom's like in jail.
Really?
Yeah.
How does a rich person go to jail?
Well, because she was tied in with Merlin.
Oh,
and Merlin killed like this. The finale is that like Merlin sets off
I
this
did it
like
for you!
earthquake bomb like in like the ghetto section of Star City.
And, okay.
And Merlin's just like, what? It's just a bunch of ghetto people. I'm rich. I fucking hate these things.
Earthquake bomb. Have a more elaborate name.
Yeah, it does.
So, Arrow, you must stop the earthquake bomb. It's almost kind of like, I almost imagine being kind of like, there's, going back to Hobbit for a second, there's the evil, like, kind of like right-hand man of, like, the Republican guy.
He's got, like, the big, like, unibrow.
He has the big unibrow. It's the same guy in every fucking movie like that. He's hunched over, he has the mustache, he has the unibrow, he's just, so, Bart, we must toss this fish into the water. I was like, you realize we're low on fish. Well, it is not
When I'm evil, man!
Like, when does the riot? He's like, you realize it's gonna start riots. It's gonna be your problem. He's like, yeah, all right, let him go.
Fuck it, you ruined all my fun.
And he always, it's like that. It's kind of like I always laugh whenever I see that character because I mean, I'm not trying to be mean here, but it is such a cliche character. He's there, but I guess it's kind of like also based on a book that had the time that probably was a little less cliche or something. He's always peeking around the corner from the shadows. Where?
It's a cliche character, but they exist.
I understand why they exist. Yeah. It's just when they have the full-on unibrow, like, oh, they're as ugly as they are on the inside.
Yeah, it's like they really want to make sure you, like, people hate people with unibrows. Give them a unibrow. That'll make them hate them even more.
Whenever I
At
see...
first glance, people will say, I hate that guy.
Whenever I see a unibrow now, though, I just think of, there's the episode of Simpsons when Bart becomes friends with Skinner, and he's all thrown off. Like, I don't know, man. It's weird being best friends with my ex-old enemy, It's weird. Like, and Lisa says... everybody needs their enemies. The Beatles had the Rolling Stones. She goes down like a quick list.
Maggie.
Even Maggie has the baby with the unibrow. And then it cuts to Maggie looking out the window. You see a mom pushing like a baby carriage, baby with the unibrow, just like gives an evil squint. Maggie squints
up, yeah.
and like just points back at him.
See, unibrows. It's kind of like the instant thing that makes somebody look evil.
Mm-hmm, yeah, it's easy. Yeah, but no. Still, I want to see. I'm curious to see what they do with Amazing Spider-Man, though.
I know that one looks cool. I like how they put Rhino in it too. That was a character I liked from early on. I was like, well, fuck, don't they put that
That's
guy
another thing because he's more instead of just being kind of like I got this Rhino suit that makes me strong. It's like okay, it's more like Ultimate Spider-Man where it's like a Transformer suit more or less.
Yeah.
Which that works. I mean, I guess the first best thing would be kind of like, I mean, you can't just have it be like he's a dude that's somehow in a rhino hide and has all these strength. You could do something maybe like what they did in the video game. I never played it, but I saw the ads where it was like he was spliced. You could do that. That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the robot rhino suit works fine, too. Mm-hmm. The one thing I'm kind of worried about, though, is I hope they don't go into all the origin stuff of all these villains.
And it takes a fucking hour before the movie even picks up.
Yeah, I think is one of the smartest things I think we suck Christopher Nolan's dick on this podcast all the time, but I think the smartest thing about like the Batman trilogy that he did was, okay, Ra's al Ghul was already Ra's al Ghul. Scarecrow came in and he was Scarecrow. He just popped on a mask, boom, here I am. Catwoman was Catwoman. Joker was Joker. It made, like, we saw Two-Face's progression, but...
There was another character to be the villain while Two-Face was progressing.
And and that was part of the story. It wasn't like, here's like 20 or 30 minutes of the movie before he becomes who he is. This is all part of the story that leads to this.
Well, a really good style of movie making, and people never seem to utilize it nearly much, I always call it the 007 style, is you just start off with action, and you have no idea why action's going on. It's just, there's action. And what you can do afterwards is after your credits come up is then you could start, okay, well, we already gave people action, so they're already kind of happy now. Mm-hmm. Now we can start telling the story. But nobody utilizes that very often except for 007.
And actually all the Batman movies. All the Christopher Nolan Batman movies.
Does Batman Begins start off action?
Doesn't completely start off with action, but he has the thing where he's fallen through the whale, then he wakes up in prison, he gets into a prison fight.
Oh, yeah, I guess that is true. But yeah, because the other Batman ones do it too. It's just like instantly there's action, right? And that's like the smartest thing to do is just get people hooked. And it's even in video games too. I always feel a video game should just start off with action. Don't give me fucking 10 minutes of like, I hate when they give you fucking 10 minutes of video at the very beginning. Like, I wanted to play the game. I didn't want to watch the game. But once I'm already invested, then I want to see it.
That was cool about Grand Theft Auto 5. That one you open up in the middle of a heist.
That's cool. See,
There's a quick video, like a quick 20-second video. They're like slamming people against the wall with guns to their backs.
See, that's fine.
Then you play.
It's just some of those games where they have like 10 minutes or even 5 minutes, just like start explaining the story as I get into it. And that's same with movies, same with almost anything. You can do it in comic books too. Fucking like start off, show me some cool shit, and then start telling me the story once I'm kind of like, okay, I like the cool shit, now I'm invested.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully Spider-Man hopefully just won't have like, because the only problem about the Amazing Spider-Man, and once again, maybe if Spider-Man 1 didn't exist, everything would be fine. But since Spider-Man 1 exists, and everybody knows the fucking origin because that movie was only like 10 years prior, really Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man should just kind of start off, like Spider-Man's already in the fucking costume and he fights, and like for a 10-minute battle in the beginning, it could just be somebody else. He's just battling any random ass character. You know. And then it kind of shows like a quick 5-minute origin, because you can explain an origin in 5 minutes. I just don't think movie producers understand that.
I honestly didn't expect, because it was Martin Sheen playing Uncle Ben. I actually expected, don't ask me why, I just expected Martin Sheen to be something different, be alive up until near the end of the movie. I know that's going against the order, but the chronological order of it. But it's a movie. How many times have we seen this thing through cartoons?
Kind of changed around a little bit.
And I assumed he'd be Spider-Man, and somehow Martin Sheen dies at the end of the movie or near the end of the movie. The lizard would kill him. I thought something around those lines.
Yeah.
To still give him that initial guilt of letting Uncle Ben die. But I don't know. I just hope they don't go into too much of flashback origin stuff. I just hope they just kind of because this already has there's already 3 villains in it. They said Electro's the main villain, but there's already 3 in there, and I think that Spider-Man 3. Everyone complains about it. All my complaints about that movie come in the last 20 minutes.
Well, people do the stupid thing where they go well, Spider-Man 3 failed because it had 3 villains. That's not the reason. Other movies have 3 villains in it too. That's not the problem. The problem just happened is that they pulled that card halfway into production, and that's what made it all wonky.
I think the big thing with that is,
I think if day one they started out and the script was just okay, it's Venom, Sandman, and Harry Osborn, and it was okay, so this is what it is. But when you're already kind of well, we shot 2/3 of the story, fuck.
They drop it in there. Well, it was more just the pacing, plus Venom just drops in there at the very end and then dies.
Yeah.
And it was kind of plus the part when he throws on the suit, you're expecting, okay, it's going to be dark Peter Parker. And he is dark for a little while. Yeah, he has an emo cut. But then
he goes into something weird and
he does the emo cut thing for a little while. It's okay, that's kind of, because when he goes up against Harry and he's wearing the suit, he has the emo cut. It's a little weird, but still, it kind of works. Not the cut, but his attitude, that whole works when he's kicking the shit out of Harry. But then when he leaves, and then they have the funny scene where he's dancing, and he's get on, check on this, or whatever. He's all snapping his fingers and doing that, and just
that's the part where it's uncomfortable to watch. You sit there and you go what the fuck is going on? Why? Who fucking said this was okay?
And then I like what Kevin Smith said about that. He says I says, be wrong, I didn't like Spider-Man 1 that much. I loved Spider-Man 2. But when I went to see Spider-Man 3 and I saw that part, I can imagine someone leaning to Sam Raimi and said, "What are you doing?" Shut up, I'm trying to get fired.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man 3. It's not a bad movie. It's just not amazing. It's kind of
I lied to myself when I first saw it. I liked it so much because it's Spider-Man. I think it's a good movie.
I think it's a 2.5 out of 4. It's good. It's decent.
It's decent.
I could watch it again.
The only problem with it's just the last 25 minutes for me at least.
There's some other things it does kind of bother me that Venom's played by Eric Foreman. It's which is it's just one of those ones really? You literally went out and picked the smallest, puniest guy.
What you could have done is you could have had the more darker side of him come out. I know we're talking about a movie that came out 7 years ago at this point.
Tell him, this is how you should have did this. I know it's.
I'm not trying to be that guy, but really, I think at a logical pace would have moved. All right, he's there. Not Eric Foreman maybe, but then the guy Eddie Brock is there. Mm-hmm. He fights Sandman and Harry Osborn. Harry dies in the process. That kind of something similar, and then. after the whole thing with Venom, like he loses the Venom suit, but then at the very end, like Eddie Brock finds the Venom suit, you know?
Yeah.
And when he did have the Venom suit, we didn't have a funny montage of him dancing down the
get
street.
rid of that crap.
And if you can, get rid of the emo cut, but you know, the reverse mullet.
Yeah, just give him a regular mullet. He fucking just grows his mullet out, puts on a flannel.
Spider mullet.
He starts getting this kind of like beard start growing out, dude. Like,
if Tobey Maguire didn't have the beard, he'd look like a lesbian.
Yeah, he would. He really would need the scruff.
Because he has the very feminine face, so.
You just look like a lesbian, like, give me a pack of cigarettes.
This is Dark Parker.
Yeah.
Then there's that Jupiter Ascends movie.
Was that the Tom Cruise one?
That was the Wachowski siblings.
Oh,
one.
yeah.
I tried so hard not to say brothers. The Wachowski siblings.
That one looks really cool. When I saw it, I was like, oh, from the creators of, like, from the creators of The Matrix, which really can mean a lot of things. That could be like, well, this guy who edited it, this guy who produced it, he didn't really create it. Well, we'll just kind of...
I heard about this movie earlier, and I want to say they wrote and directed it.
That's cool, though.
I want to double check, but I believe it looks...
Well, because sometimes they just write, you know.
It looks like a grand scale, like, space opera type of thing.
That one looks really cool. I don't really know any, other than the trailer, but I don't really know too much about it, but if it is, I'm invested already.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, from what I heard, heard an earlier synopsis on it, and it's like, I guess there's this whole community of, like, galaxies or something like that, and Earth is actually just kind of like, watched down. It's still kind of like that whole kind of Wachowski brothers fight the man kind of thing, but there's like this bigger society looking down on Earth, which kind of supervises, and apparently Mila Kunis, I don't know if it's a prophecy thing or something, but she's kind of like, I guess, a chosen one in some way, and then Channing Tatum's like an alien wolf boy kind of thing, and it's a Beauty and the Beast kind of thing, I guess. And they're working together to like free the galaxy or something. It looks cool. It looks very.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, because the only thing about it is all their movies, like in the recent times, have kind of been like people just haven't got enough praise or enough money or.
Well, here's like both the gift and the curse of being the Wachowskis.
You made The Matrix.
You made The Matrix, and everyone loves The Matrix. Mm-hmm. Even people who don't like science fiction walk away saying, "All right, that was a fucking cool movie."
Well, yeah, that movie is like, it's like a pinnacle movie, a perfect 4 out of 4 movie.
My grandpa, who doesn't give a fuck for science fiction, says that was all right. Yeah. That says something. Now, Pete. Now, like the problem with that is people saying, "Do that shit again." Like, well,
we did, and apparently you didn't like it. Yeah. We did the exact same fucking thing again. Nothing really different whatsoever, but you didn't like it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a lot of people always kind of...
But I wonder if they're going to get to this point where, like, because, like, if they go, like, where somebody's going to go, like, you know, guys, those last handful of movies you did, I mean, decent films and all, but, you know, didn't bring that money in that we kind of expect out of you, too.
Well, I'm wondering if Cloud...
how about you give us a Matrix 4? Well, I mean, I know 2 and 3 people seem to not like. I mean, you know, who am I to judge? You know, fuck, I like anything as long as there's money involved.
This is the frog. This is that frog
give me
at Warner
a check,
Brothers
I'll
Studio.
tell you it's a 4 out of 4 movie.
This is like the frog from the Warner Brothers Studio telling him this.
So, you know what? Just do a Matrix 4. It's been a long time since 2 and 3. People probably already forgot about it.
Just like fucking Neo comes back to life or something like that. Because they do say, I believe Neo will be back someday. They said, like, we're going to continue the Matrix. I never played it because there's the Matrix Online game. And, like, this pissed me off. And this never happened to me. This is not canon. Like, you could say this game came out, but it does not exist to me. What ends up happening is they have that Matrix Online game. It's like, this game continues the story of the Matrix. Mm-hmm. And there's a shaky truce between the humans and the machines. I was watching one time, there's that show that Cineflix, we talked about G4 a little bit ago. There's that show Cineflix where they showed like trailers or cutscenes from video games.
Is that what it was called?
Cineflix or I don't know.
I want to say it's called something else, but I think
maybe
I know what show you're talking about.
Cineplex or something. I don't know. There was a show where they would show you like weird trailers from Japan or other countries, and then maybe a few cutscenes here.
It was something that like kind of like, I mean, like broadband internet was out at the time, but it was still at the point where not everybody had it. So I think that show worked well for its period before you could just kind of go online and watch all these trailers.
Well, there's one where it's like there is this character. He was in a trench coat, of course, because it's Matrix, and he had a bunch of bandages around his face and all that.
So they're like Hush.
Kind of like Hush, yeah, something around like that. But but his face was completely wrapped up. You couldn't see his eyes or nothing. So, and Morpheus was running away from this guy. It was a cutscene with Morpheus running away from this guy. And he thinks he gets out, and then very creepily, the guy kind of slides out of a vent, almost like a snake, comes out, and Morpheus is expecting, shoots him in the back of the leg. Morpheus falls down, he steps over Morpheus, unloads the gun. And then it cuts to, like, Niobe and a couple of other, like...
So you just kill off all the main characters?
Morpheus. Then it cuts to Niobe and a couple other freedom fighters in the street talking to some agents, like, what'd you do? He's like, we didn't do it. And they're like, are you serious? They have a kind of a brief confrontation, like, if we killed one of you, we'd kill all of you. It wasn't us. And then, like Niobe, it's time to go. It's like, we're not done here. And they leave. And it was just like, no. No, it was almost kind of like I got that kind of like Emperor Palpatine thing with Star Wars. Like, no. I was like that, like, no. Morpheus and Niobe lived happily ever after, goddammit.
Yeah, goddamn right.
That did not happen. I don't give a shit what Warner Brothers Digital says. That game's not here anymore. It's not here. Fuck that. That didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know. One problem with those, like, online games, too, is the fact that you have to be online to play them. It's like, you can't just go and, like, play it at home by yourself and enjoy the good old times.
Yeah.
It's kind of where, like, a lot of those things kind of lose. It's like, oh,
that's
you gotta
right.
be online to play it. Well, never mind.
Well, plus, after a while, like, they end up shutting a lot of those games down. So you pay $60 for a game you can't eventually play anymore. So it's kind of like, I'm just kind of done. I mean, I never played them in the first place, so I can't say I'm done with them.
The new thing for them to do nowadays is they give you the game for free online now. And you play it, and then somehow, some way, you gotta buy shit in the game, and that's kind of how you pay for the game, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you're really buying weapons for your characters or whatever?
Yeah, and I think a lot of those kind of games is like, you can get, it literally becomes like the Republican universe of like online, because it's like, whoever has the most money gets the best characters. It's like,
yeah.
You can sit there and like, you know, you can work your way up just like in real life and try to make something of yourself, but the kid's got the credit card of like, you know...
He's gonna be kicking your ass from
I
day
know,
one.
yeah, he's gonna fucking like go there like, my dad's golden credit card shows me that I know the best blaster there is.
Like how every like rich dumb kid always ends with at the end.
So it's like, which is like, I understand. Like, I think it's kind of like the concept of like, okay, you don't. It is kind of cool to, because you gotta pay for a game no matter what. I understand that.
Yeah.
People don't fucking go out and like. It's not like most ones. People are so happy to make games for you to slave away. But it's kind of nice to say, it's like, okay, here, you can play it, and it's also kind of smart, too. It's like, you get kind of hooked into the game, you know? But it's like, here you go. We know you don't got $60 on you right now, but little by little, you just keep giving us, like, 99 cents here and there, and next thing you know, you spent $400 on this game.
Reason I don't play online games.
Well, to me, it's like, that's just like, to me, like, no, fuck you. I know what you're after. I see what's going on here. And I'm not working my way up, I'm not that kind of person. You don't lie to me. Don't tell me if I work at this factory long enough I can be owning the factory.
What are you gonna do for this level 50 like armor, huh? What are you gonna do?
You know, you could either work your way up by paying for it, or you can just pull out your credit card and, you know, put some money down and
I got someone from Duck Dynasties like running like the corporate meeting there.
I don't know, it's your choice.
She's like, how did I work it off? Well, in a video game, you get... Well, from someone at your level, what you could do is you can go into the bar in a video game, go to the restroom, and you could be the rent boy.
If people love online sex, what you're going to be doing for 8 hours a day is digitally blowing people.
Just pushing the space bar. And then typing sexy things in the comment section.
And that's your job. I think someday you'll get up to getting that level 50 armor that you always wanted. Or you can just give us $50. I mean, it's your choice.
You were not that far off. I bet there's probably got to be a game out there where, like...
Well, there is video games out there where people, like, fucking work a digital fucking job.
No, I mean, like, literally, there's got to be a game out there where you probably suck someone's dick for, like, digitally suck someone's dick.
Digitally suck someone's dick
for experience points or something.
Well, there's that... I can't remember what that game's called, but there's that game where it's almost kind of like... The world inside Gamer, the one that's not the shooting game, like the Sims type game.
Yeah.
But there's some type of like, it's not Sims, but it's an online game where you just kind of like I live my digital life here, you know, and I run this bakery in digital land.
Yeah, that's always just.
And to me, it's always like, that's fucking stupid. Why the hell would I want to do that? And it's weird, and they just people like that. I can see going in there being like kind of like
the anarchists just setting shit on fire,
just being like the douchebag in there, like going back to like internet 1999, where like you would go on to like Yahoo chats and like make fun of people for like coming out to express themselves online.
You got feelings. Or like there's like another one I don't get. I mean, people try and get me into a lot of these games, but like Minecraft.
Minecraft just looks stupid as fuck. I mean, like, if anybody plays it, that's one thing. But I just look at that, I'm like, no. But I don't know. To me, it's like, I guess I come from the time period where, like, I like games. I like being kind of like, here's a story. You go through
About a lady.
And that's it. Yeah. Here's a story about a guy with a gun, and he needs to save all these space marines. Something's gonna happen in between the game, but we're not gonna tell you this right now.
In the scene.
I don't know what it is though. But
I was guessing you're talking about Mass Effect. I don't know.
I was kind of summing up like a Mass Effect / Gears of War / Halo all in one.
Okay.
I don't know why I was thinking of those ones, but because I don't even play that many first-person shooters, so it's kind of weird. It's like I really like Gears of War a lot. That was the kind of the game that the first I played it, because like if you don't see a story science to a game too, you just kind of go whatever. It's another shooter game. And then later on, I just bought it because I was like, I need a co-op game. I'll just get Gears of War. It's $7 or something like that. And coming back to it, I was like, oh my god, this thing's got the fucking amazing story in it and great characters. And the top it off, it's got great gameplay.
It's cool. It's just an 80s action movie just set in a science fiction world.
Well, yeah, I love that. So that's been like one of my favorite series. Really, I'd say like if I had to say my favorite series, even favorite game on Xbox, or like let's just say the last systems, I'm going to include Wii, PS3, and Xbox, Gears of War stands out by far. Like that's really the reason I would buy an Xbox One over a PS4, because I would rather just have Gears of War. When it gets down to it, that's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm looking at Metal Gear Solid 5.
Comes out for both of them though.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's always kind of like that. I kind of miss the days though when games were like exclusive for systems though, because that kind of made you go out and get the system.
I guess
once they start doing that though, then you kind of go like, well, I was gonna get a PS. Really, because I said if they would have put Metal Gear Solid 4 on Xbox, I would probably never buy a PS3. Sounds weird. There's games on there that if I had one, I would get, but that's the only game that sells me a PS3.
I'd like to play The Last of Us and Uncharted.
Exactly, but like to me, it's like I wouldn't go out and buy a PS3 just for those games. I'd buy it for Metal Gear Solid, and there's some other games like I wouldn't mind playing like the new Twisted Metal, and whatever else PlayStation has off. they don't have nearly as much as Xbox does, because to me, it's like those ones like Xbox we know is gonna have. You know, even though Cliff's not on, like, the new Gears of War or whatever, because he's starting his own team up and whatnot, but it's going to have the new Halo and it's going to have the new Gears.
You said he was on Joe Rogan a little bit.
He was on Joe Rogan's, like, somewhat later. Joe Rogan has, like, multiple podcasts a week, so it's probably, it was, like, the last one, like, 4 days ago, but it's probably, like, the 5th one by now.
I like Joe Rogan. I listen to his podcast being on. It's kind of like Mark Maron and Nerdist. I'll listen to them depending who's on. It's not that they're bad. It's just there's so many podcasts.
There's so much time in life, so I gotta kind of be picky and choosy.
Plus, Joe Rogan's podcasts go from like 2 hours to like 3.5 hours.
Well, it's like 2 podcasts in one.
Yeah. So
and
like
it's weird, like, cause that guy sometimes he does 2 or 3 podcasts a day of 2.5, 3 hours long. It's like, Jesus Christ, this guy just sits around and talks. He literally sits around and talks all day.
I'm surprised because all these fucking life experiences he has. How do you have the time to do all this shit when you're just sitting talking all day?
Well, I think it's just because he's older now, and like
he's probably going off the past. But
and he still does his comedy, which he's never one of those kind of guys. So it sounds weird, but like him and Chris Hardwick, when you hear them like talk, they don't sound like comedians. Like when you hear Titus talk, he sounds like a comedian on his podcast. You can tell this guy's a comedian. Where those two guys, it's just. They don't talk, I guess what you think of a comedian. They talk more just like, I guess like a host of a show.
Yeah.
That's how they sound to me. And I don't know if they, like, there's this difference.
I've heard both their stand-ups, and they're both pretty good. Mm-hmm. But I'll say that like, what was I going to say? Joe Rogan, he does have, what's kind of interesting about him is he does have this, he's like a weird fusion of a bunch of different shit at once. He has this total like, bro, what's up, guys? I work out, UFC, boxing, and then he has this like
fast cars, all this stuff.
Then he's also like, I love comic books, I love video games, and I'm also into psychedelic shit and philosophy, and just like he's kind of like this crazy oddball package, but he's all these things. He doesn't feel like he's like.
Well, he's not like Chris Hardwick, who's just kind of like, I like computers and nerd stuff.
Chris Hardwick's funny. I really like Chris
Oh,
Hardwick.
I like
He's
Chris
pretty
Hardwick a
funny.
lot, but he just kind of has like
I heard some of his stand up on
he's
Spotify.
in that like one section, like that's what he is. Chris Hardwick's not UFC. He's not fucking racing cars and all this other stuff.
He had a really funny bit, like, because this is how I feel sometimes, because like when you think about it, I'm not trying to bring people down for liking sports or whatever, because there's some sports I like, but I mean, I don't really dedicate myself to the level of other people though, because you hear people talk about the stats of this player and that player.
Well, the main thing about sports, I always think myself, is this thing that it's one of those ones I don't like. It's hard for me to get into something that I don't do myself. If I played football or baseball, I could see being into it. But since I don't play it, it's weird just to like it, and that's how I feel too. I don't think I'd really be that into movies if I didn't make movies.
And this is gonna sound so, I understand what you're saying there, and this is gonna sound so weird. If I wasn't such a bad skater, I think I'd be into hockey. Because whenever we played like street hockey as kids and like just on foot,
on foot I do great. It's put the skates on and that's where everything goes out the window.
And whenever I watch a hockey game, I really get into it. I can't say the names of players or anything, but I really get into it whenever I do actually watch like NHL. So.
Well, hockey
or from a
seems
live game, yeah.
Hockey always seemed like if there was a sport I could get into, it would be that one, other than wrestling. But wrestling's more like it fits more in like the movie section than it does like in sports. Strangely enough.
But going back to you saying about people playing and whatnot, he said because like sometimes we live like we said a couple times we live in a really kind of like conservative redneck town, so you see a lot. So a lot of times you get this kind of thing. Oh, you're into cartoons or you're into the animation. Oh, you fag. You get kind of that. Then you get kind of like a little bit of this, kind of like this someone really trying to outmacho you a lot of times. And it's kind of funny because they'll be like, be going down all these stacks. Oh, yeah, well, Garcia, his pitching average, or oh, yeah, his yardage, whatever. Going down all this stuff. Like, right there, the stuff you just memorized for this guy, you're never going to fucking meet. You memorize more of that than I did on comics or on like any video game related thing right there. Because that and then like he also
think about that. That's just it's
my level 50 wizard. Kind of the same thing.
There's no difference. That's really what it is. Like that fantasy football, it's no fucking different than Dungeons and Dragons. That's the same thing.
The one thing I could say about fantasy football, if you have money on the line, and
well,
you're betting,
there's gambling, but you can also gamble in fucking Dungeons and Dragons and Magic and all that stuff too.
Yeah,
and video games and everything.
But I was gonna say this. He had this funny joke. He's all saying like when people start throwing football stats at me, like. Yeah, what about Harry Potter in that last Quidditch match? That was pretty insane, right? Like, you do know Quidditch isn't real. And you're never going to play in the fucking NFL. So there you go.
Exactly.
Same thing, really.
But yeah, that's one thing. Because to me, I just have a hard time liking something that I know I can't, like, do. Or I won't do. You know what I mean? Like. And
I was in freshman football, and I liked it. It was fun, but it was, I wasn't really dedicated to it, and I found myself kind of twisting putting on like if the Niners are playing, I might watch, and I hope they do good. If I have a football team, I'd say it's the Niners, but I don't really need to see every game.
Can't sit there and watch every game, and I can't even watch a full game because a lot of times it's just the commercials is what ruins it.
That's the main thing. What ruins it for me.
If football didn't have commercials, I could see that, but I'm like that's where it always goes like, how the fuck can you watch
every
these
2
games?
minutes? Yeah, commercial.
Well, yeah, it's just like sometimes I'll watch it and be like. The game was on for 15 seconds and then went back to commercials again. How do you take this? Like, I'm so surprised. I know that older people probably you get kind of used to it. You're like, well, TV was already on a step in the future. Like, who am I to judge from this point on? But I think just kind of coming from like this point, it's like, I don't know. If there's commercials, you've already lost me.
That's one of the reasons I don't really read a whole lot of single issues from Marvel or DC. Because they are like so many ads within like one issue.
Because some of the single issues I do have, they're not too bad. Like, because when I went out and bought that Sonic and Mega Man ones, there was like 3... I'm not going to include... Because there's ads always for like Sonic and Mega Man, but that's not really the same. There was like probably 3 ads in the whole thing, and it didn't really break it up that bad. Because they're kind of at the beginning and the end, and like, so it's like, that wasn't so bad. And, but sometimes I remember, like, I just remember Marvel Comics having a lot of fucking ads.
Well, if it's a big book, like, say, a Spiderman or a Batman... There's lots of ads in them. So that's why I just like, fuck it, I'm going to get trade paperback.
Well, it's one of those ones, if there was an area you could go and buy single issues, it is kind of fun buying them, because it's kind of like you get little snippets there, but...
It depends on how big
you have to buy them offline, though, it costs the same price, so it's like, might as well just get the trade paperback.
Yeah, but, and that's kind of how I am. It's more just the ads, and then... There was a period I tried so hard to get into football. I tried so hard. I started wearing Niners shirts. I started trying to memorize names of players, but I'm just like I realized
I'm just not being myself.
I'm just twisting my own arm. I'm just trying to like this stuff more than I really do. And I'm like, oh fuck it.
I don't know. It's one of those ones. I feel like if somebody said like, well, you know what? I'm playing on like the minor league baseball team, so that's why I really am in the baseball. I go like, makes fucking sense.
Makes sense.
But just to be like, I don't know, just to be that super fan, I guess it'd just be really hard. Because as I always thought too, it's like, if I never made animations or videos, I don't think I would. I'd probably watch them here and there, but it wouldn't be like I'd watch them all the time and I'd study them and I'd do all this stuff and I'd get really like into it. I just don't think I could be that into it if I didn't do it.
Yeah.
There's only one, but I think because it kind of relates to like the movies and stuff, is like the video games. I know I'm not gonna make video games. And that's the one that I've always been really into, but it kind of feels like it's the same ballpark. It's storytelling.
Yeah, exactly.
When it really all gets down to it, it's all storytelling. Yeah, and I think that's where like wrestling always appealed to me because it's like, well, it's just storytelling and acting. It's that's what it is with like stunts involved.
Well,
So
it's also kind of like for video games and that, and I guess video games and even sports. Sometimes things you wish you could do, but you can't. So it's almost. I mean, some sports try hard enough you can get into sports, but I mean, as far as video games go, some stuff like, oh yeah, that'd be so awesome, but in real life you couldn't do it and legally walk away. So
what do you mean?
Well, I'm talking about video games, for instance. Like, I'm talking about, like, the stuff you wish, like, sometimes just, like...
Okay, I was like, what do you mean legally walk away from doing, like, from making video games? Like,
no, like, getting into a shootout, or...
Oh, I see what you mean. You're talking about, like, the real, like, the actual story part of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's, to me, sounds weird, but what video games is to me, it's like a vacation. It sounds so strange, but that's really what when I go play a video game, I feel like I'm taking a vacation without having to even leave my home and without having to spend, like, really any money. And that's kind of like, because, it's like you put a game in, it's like, okay, I'm going Tomb Raider. Well, I'm going to this mysterious island now on the outskirts of Japan. I'm playing Gears of War. I'm playing this could be Earth. It could be another planet, but we're in the future and we're on this adventure. I'm in Grand Theft Auto. I'm in pretty much New York. Or I'm in Assassin's Creed. I'm in, Rome. And to me, it's like, it almost feels like I've taken this little vacation and I can break it off. I can, go be like, well, I've been doing enough animating for the day. I'll go take like an hour-long vacation, and then I can come back. But I don't have to leave, and it doesn't cost me an arm and a leg to do.
Yeah, it's a good
and
way of
that's how
looking
it
at
feels to me with like video games. Movies don't necessarily always feel like that. I know that's kind of like how it is. Movies feel I'm always like I'm watching a story.
There's more to me. There always, there's commitment in both of them, but to me, there seems like there's a little bit more commitment in a movie for whatever reason. To me,
more commitment in a movie.
To an extent,
I would almost say because movies feel like...
I guess I feel like because...
Movies is 2 hours, video games like 10 hours.
Well, for me, the reason I say that is I feel like I could probably sit there and watch the whole movie, where a video game, you have to kind of... At some point, you're going to have to put it down, or...
Oh, I see what you mean.
Kind of like that.
Because I'm personally not a big fan of breaking movies too much. Like, it's like, if I watch a movie, I watch the whole movie.
Same thing here.
The only time that... Sometimes, like, if I'm watching a movie, like, at nighttime, I might watch half and then wake up in the morning and finish it. But that's kind of different because it's, like, on my own terms. I'm not, like, telling everybody else to do this with me or whatnot.
For me, it's easier to put... I usually finish video games, but for me, it's easier to put a video game down. Like, I haven't played that DC Scribblenauts game in a while, and I don't think it's really a very heavily story-driven game anyway. So it's kind of I'll pick it up again at some point. But like New Super Mario Brothers 2, I still haven't finished that one, but I will. I
actually took a survey. I saw it was on. Speaking of Cliff Belinsky, he like retweeted it from some other video game guy, and there's a survey. It was all about like, how many games do you have that you have yet to play? they sit there in that stack. So I like took the survey. I was like, oh, I'll take it. It sounds like right up my alley. I always got that stack of games that I just seem to never get to. It happens with me a lot of things. It happens with me with movies and comic books. I almost like I always feel like I enjoy the buying part almost more than I enjoy the playing part. It sounds weird, but like there's so many things that like you kind of buy and then like eventually you mostly always get around to it. Very rarely is there ever something that just never got around to. But mostly I always get there. But yeah, the survey just kind of asked, like, how many games this year have you, like, bought and not played? Like, there's about a stack of about 6 or 7 games that really haven't been played or been barely played. Or need to be finished, too. Like, that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
And mainly it's just because you just see kind of good deals. Like, I just kind of bought games. I was like, oh, fuck, $5. Well, hell yeah. And I'll have to play it now.
I felt bad. There's that 6 or 7, maybe even 8-month period where I bought a video game, I forgot I bought it, and I actually left it at your house.
It was the newest Prince of Persia. I don't think there's been one.
There's been a new one since then, but it's like it was like the reboot.
A cool, like artistic looking one.
It had a pastel kind of look to it. It was cell shaded.
Well, I remember you bought it for like $6 or $8 or something like that. And
went to your house.
I found it in my couch at one point. It was just like, what the fuck is that? I was cleaning out the couch. I was like, oh my god, there's a game and it's in the GameStop bag and everything. And then I was like, well, I'm gonna play it before I tell Ryan it's here.
You get like, oh, here's your game. Like, oh fuck, I forgot I bought this.
And it was like I played. It was like 6 hours. It was literally worth whatever price you paid. It was like exactly. It was like, oh, 6 hours for $6, perfect.
Yeah.
And it was a great game. I loved it. It was like, here you go.
If I spent like $15 or more, I probably would have remembered.
Yeah, but sometimes when you don't spend very much, well, there's just a bunch of games like I just kept buying them because I kept. Either GameFly would give me like a good deal, or they'd give me a coupon. A lot of times you give me like $5 coupon or something. It's like, well, can't let that coupon go to waste now.
No.
You know, so you go out and buy something. So I got this stack of like, I got Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge. I have like LA Noire, like Bolt. So I bought all these games like I never got to play yet, and they were like all like under $10, and they just kind of sat there. I got the Silent Hill collection that like I played for about an hour and then just never got to it again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I still gotta finish Pokemon. That's like kind of the ones like before you play anything else.
Oh, I gotta finish Black.
Finish Pokemon.
I gotta finish Black.
And Pokemon's just one of those ones like I pick it up and I'll play it for a bit, and then next thing you know, you just start like working on projects, and you kind of almost like run out. The problem is in life is there's almost not enough time in the day to do animation, read comics, watch a movie, and play a game. There's just and work out.
Yeah,
it's like my 5 like main things, and I can't fill all that stuff in there. And lots of it's mostly like you work on animation, you work out. You can pick one out of those 3, and then you go to bed.
You can kind of get like 3 of those things in there, maybe.
Well, I've always there's always
depending on your day.
The saying that I've always said is like you do 2 things and the day's over. Like I don't know what it is. I go out and do 2 things, and the next thing you know, it's like fuck, it's 10 o'clock at night. You know, it's like what the hell happened? You know, and always like I always think of like on our movie day, which is mostly always Friday. It's like wake up, go see the movie. Most of the time do the podcast on that same day, and then I'm work out, and the next thing you know, it's like, well, fuck, I can't get anything else done today.
I can't really get shit done that much at night.
Well, that day's like, I always consider it's like, that's just the fucking movie podcast day. It's
try.
so weird just to say that, like, a movie and a podcast takes up all my day, but it really does.
Well, then you gotta do it because you gotta go to work as soon as the podcast is over, usually.
Yeah, and go work out and whatnot, but... Mm-hmm. Still, it's just kind of amazing. It's like it's small things. It's like that's why I'm always amazed when people say like, "Oh, I got like 8 or 9 things done there." It's like, how the fuck did you do that? I guess that everything I've always done always takes up multiple hours of the crack.
It's weird. There's some days I can get a lot of shit done at night, but I'm more of like the middle of the day kind of person.
Well, I know I can get a lot of shit done on one thing. It's getting multiple things done. I just can't do that. It's like you get 2 things a day. Sometimes 3. That's a good day. 4 if for some reason like. A miracle happened or something. Like you woke up at 6 a.m. and you were like all refreshed and stuff, and you went all the way till like midnight, and somehow, some way, you just kind of had all that steam.
Yeah, that's a rarity, but
that's like twice a year thing. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's one of those ones. So I got a stack of comics, stack of games. Always have a stack of DVDs. I think
stack of DVDs. Yeah,
I think the DVDs. It's the one that goes by faster than all the other ones, but that's the one I feel like I'll never pierce that one for some reason. I think there will always be a DVD that's unseen
before you die.
Yeah, I will die with like 50 DVDs that haven't been watched yet.
There's actually, because for a while you and me, we would both go to the pawn shop, because our pawn shop here for like $20 you can get 10 movies.
Yeah, and that was for like about the last 5 years. That deal's kind of been going on. It's even actually better now because you go there now, and I only go there every once in a while. But you get like 24 movies sometimes now and whatnot so it's like they're paying like $1.50 a piece or something.
And like now it's kind of at the point because I went from having a decent amount of movies to like for after 3 years of that having a gargantuan fucking amount of movies, and now it's kind of like some of these movies it's kind of like. I still got a stack right here that I got to work down. I still have movies I've never seen that I've had for like 3 years, and I feel bad about that.
Well, I'll say since getting a DVD player and whatnot, I probably for 8 years after that point, I probably had under 100 movies. I probably had somewhere around like 70 or something like that.
Yeah.
From the advent of like the pawn shop, yard sales, flea markets, and everything else in between, and just even just regular buying, even buying movies brand new and stuff like that. I went from like that 75 maybe to like over 1,000 like in like a couple year period.
I know there's more movies that I want to get, but I'm at that point where it's like I don't know. Aside from brand new movies that are kind of coming out to DVD, as far as like older ones, I really I have trouble remembering.
What's the weird thing is like the day that I kind of finally went back and said, you know what, I'm just gonna get. I had a queue in my Amazon thing because there were some movies I wanted to get, and there's a couple Clint Eastwood ones and some other things, and there was about 4 or 5 movies in that, and I was like, it's $50, and I was like, fuck, $50, and I was like, you know what, I'll just get Netflix because I can get the DVDs from there, and it's only gonna cost me a little over $10. So I was like, and I can watch all these movies and more. So I just did that, and that really, I think, is what killed my buzz on going to buy just random ass movies.
And that's a good thing.
Because now the only thing, I noticed that I buy more brand new movies now, but I buy like the movies that I really want. Like I'll go get Man of Steel right away, or I'll go get something big that's super
World's
special.
End.
Yeah, I know. I want to go get that one because I didn't realize that came out. There's actually a bunch of movies now.
I was driving.
World's End. There's Fast and Furious 6, and there's the Wolverine extended cut, and it's just like, don't do this all at once.
Edgar Wright was on Mark Maron's podcast, and the introduction is like, Edgar Wright's new movie World's End just came out on DVD yesterday. And I was driving home from work, like, it's icy as fuck. I took a very dangerous right turn, just barely.
I didn't think of anybody else's life.
I was luckily the only one on the road, but still. Head straight to Walmart. I almost got this because I actually even checked Safeway to see, like, I don't want to get a Walmart. Let's see if they have. There's an empty slot there. They have everything else. There's an empty slot here. Everyone must have bought World's End. Then I went over to Walmart, and I went over to like where they're mainly selling them at the main electronics section, and like I saw the slot for World's End, but there's none in there. And I just got this kind of like just.
The heart starts pounding really bad.
I walked up to a lady. I was like, "Excuse me, do you have any copies of World's End? I see a slot for it." It's like, "Sir, if it ain't in the slot, we don't got it." And then like, okay, and I almost got this very kind of like
hunched over, like walking out, just with arms down. Like,
not that. It was just almost kind of like this very primal thing in my head. I almost wanted to.
Almost want to fight this lady.
Almost. It was because I didn't even know. I was so surprised. I didn't know the movie was out, so I was just like, "No!
This cannot be!"
Yeah, like almost kind of like a kid, like, and push some rack of something over. But then I was like,
"He's not dead!"
And then I'm just like, I stop and wait. They have the DVD rack in the front, and I just run over to the top of there, and there's actually, they had a few copies still left in the front, so. It's almost like I never really get that anymore, but for that movie, I was just very much kind of like, but you have to have, almost like explain to a kid, like, there is no such thing as...
If you wait, maybe you can get it for Christmas. Fuck that!
Yeah, kind of like that. No! Kind of like, like, there is...
I have the money! Hey, don't tell me what I can't do with it.
Being all like John Locke from Lost, don't tell me what I can't do.
But yeah, well, I didn't see the Blu-ray there for it, so I was like, fuck. Nowadays I see a DVD, it's like, oh, dirty copy. Like, give me that Blu-ray.
I still got a DVD player. I don't have a Blu-ray yet, so I just went and bought the DVD. I'm like, I don't have a Blu-ray player yet anyway. I'll get the DVD.
But so it's like there's a handful of movies like, I kind of want to get, but I don't know. There's certain movies that like I will buy right away, and there's movies like it's not that I don't like them, like I guess less. It's just I can wait a bit,
Mm-hmm.
Like Fast and Furious, I might just buy anyways because every single time I went to go buy those, I always kind of waited, and it's like, well, fuck, they don't really go down in price. They're like $2 less than it was day one.
A little bit of that will go to Paul Walker's family, so that'll be good, or his charity fund.
His charity. So it's like that's cool. It's good. Universal did something.
Yeah.
Universal.
Yeah.
But there's like the Wolverine one and all this stuff. It's like I'll probably just end up ordering these off Amazon because a lot of times you don't get them day one. I don't know what it is. Walmart and Target do this. They kind of give you like this deal right away. It's like, okay, the movie's like $25, but we're gonna give it to you for like $16.99. You're like, oh, okay, that's cool. But then you go there like a week later and it's like back to $25. And you're like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not paying $30 for the fucking Wolverine one. It's like Jesus Christ.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's like So every once in a while there's that point where it's like when Superman's like, oh, it's $25. Fuck, I hate paying $25. Like, it's Superman though. That's why I was so glad. Like The Last Stand was $15 day one.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fucking badass. Blu-ray and all. It's like that's cool. I don't want to.
Well, Wolverine. That's one like I'd like to own it, but I'm not in a mad rush to get.
Well, because to me it's like that one. It's a very good movie, but it's not Superman. It's not World's End. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And I might even like Fast 6 a little bit more. I like Wolverine the character more, but I think movie wise I might like. I don't know.
I think I liked Wolverine more than Fast 6, but
It's
I
awesome.
still enjoyed Fast 6 though.
But yeah, I don't know. It's all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bleh. Well, that's probably a good place to leave off at. So make sure to go out and check out oldmanorange.com. You can send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. And
We'll
until
read it.
then...
I mean, yeah, obviously we'll read it.
Yeah, we'll read it. Fucking. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we will see you some other time.
Later.